I'm sat on a ball, and it's quite nice to sit on a gym ball because you can feel the convex curve of the ball sitting kind of against your pelvic floor as it rests down into it. You can also do it on a normal chair or on a pillow cushion, or sit on the toilet seat with the toilet seat down. Toilet lid down, sorry, on the seat, because that has a bit of a convex curve to it as well. So let's just talk about position, spinal alignment and pelvic alignment before we start. If you tip, so here's your pelvis, if you tip your pelvis backwards, so if you imagine that's a bowl of water and you're tipping the water back, your pubic bone lifts, you'll feel that it almost feels like your sit bones draw towards your pubic bone and your pubic bone draws towards your sit bones. So this, if you were going to do any kind of pelvic floor exercises, wouldn't be an ideal position because your pelvic floor is in a shortened position. You can actually feel that shortening of the tissue. So if you rock back into neutral, you feel the pelvic floor lengthens. And then if you rock back into that, what we call a posterior tilt, that backward position, you feel it shorten. Come back up to neutral. If you go the other way and you tip that bowl of water forwards, the water's now coming out, the pubic bone's tipping down, you feel that sit bones widen and your pelvic floor lengthens. So come back into that neutral position. That is the ideal place for you to be in because that's where you can use your pelvic floor through full range. Okay, so we're now in this neutral, lovely position, and I want you to go into some deep breathing. If you just have a little wiggle to move the butt tissue out the way, and then you'll find your pelvic floor, and then let your pelvic floor relax down into the ball. If you're somebody who grips a bit through their pelvic floor, you might find it difficult to feel your pelvic floor. So let's think about your breath. Thinking about the last pose, if you grip through your abdominal, so you squeeze through here and try and take a breath in, you get very little excursion drawing out of the rib cage and your belly coming forwards. There is just no room because you're gripping and bracing so much. So what that means is that you have to start lifting your shoulders and working into your neck muscles to try and get that air into this proportion or portion of your lungs. So if you relax your shoulders down and completely soften your abdominal wall, and then take a breath in without your shoulders creeping up towards your ears, your chest will lift a little bit, but I want you to think about directing the breath into your belly first of all. And then slowly sigh the air out of your mouth. Think about the long spine, your pelvis in neutral. Breath in. And slowly sigh the air out. Now on your next breath in, go to the anatomy of the pelvic floor. So let me show you again. You're thinking pubic bone, sit bones, and coccyx, tailbone at the back. And that hammock of muscle. On your inhale, will relax down into the ball or the pillow or the toilet seat that you're sitting on. And on your exhale, will gently lift up. So keep breathing as I'm talking, remembering what we spoke about before with the cylinder movement of the diaphragm and the pelvic floor. As you inhale, the diaphragm comes down, the pelvic floor comes down to absorb those organs coming into it. And then as your diaphragm comes up, your pelvic floor also lifts. Without you even having to think about doing a contraction, it is an automatic movement. And what you should feel is that pelvic floor relax down on the inhale and lift up gently, very subtly on your exhale. Now, if you struggle to do the belly breathing, there's a nice tool, and you wouldn't want to do all your breathing with this on, but to actually start getting the rhythm of changing your breath from what we call the apical shoulder neck breathing down to the belly, the diaphragmatic deep breathing. You can take a TheraBand, so a long strip, and tie it round. I've got a loop that I'm going to put on, probably not too gracefully either. And or you could use a thick pair of tights, something that's not going to be too tight that you can't actually breathe at all, but just gives you a little bit of feedback. So pop it around your rib cage. So thinking about the anatomy of the ribs, they come down and then all the way around and onto the back of your spine. So if you relax your shoulders down and take a breath in, you'll feel the excursion, so the widening of the rib cage out to the side, the belly comes forwards, and then slowly as you sigh the air out, everything just comes back to normal. Keep thinking about your pelvic floor. And I hope that was helpful.